Game week 9 is almost over, so today we're going to have a look at some of my transfer plans going into game week 10. I have 2 free transfers and a lot of things I'm considering doing with my team going into the next week. So today we'll have a look at how my team is lining up and what I think I'm going to do with my transfers going into next week. What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another video. Today we're having a look at my transfer plans, my first team going into game week 10 next weekend. Game week 9 still has one game to go on Monday night of Spurs against Fulham. I have triple Spurs in that game, so hoping for some points. Let me know in the comments how you've got on so far in game week 9. 1,000 likes on the video is always the aim. Subscribe if you are new around here as well. So my team for game week 10 is lining up as it is on screen, but I have 2 free transfers and 0.1 million in the bank. Rank still TBC as there are matches still to play, and I do have a lot of investment in the match we have still to play on Monday evening. Areola takes his place in goal. I've been waiting to have a goalkeeper that I trust in goal, and he is in there. Everton at home. Turner drops to the bench. In defence, it's a little bit of a difficult decision this week. I'm going with Cash, Udogie and Gabriel at the moment. First sub is Dan Burn. Now, Dan Burn goes away to Wolves. Wolves have only failed to score in one game so far this season. Now, Newcastle defence has been really strong, but the attacking threat for Burn is just not nearly as good as Udogie and Cash, and I'm pretty sure that I have to play Gabriel against Sheffield United. So at the moment, Dan Burn is the one that I'm deciding to bench, but Newcastle defence has been so good, and it does just mean if there is a clean sheet, the Trippier points are going to hurt even more than they have been hurting over the past couple of weeks. Into midfield, it is really nice as well. We have double Spurs away at Crystal Palace. We have Salah at the moment with the captaincy armband at home to Nottingham Forest. We have Jared Bowen against Everton and Diaby against Luton. And up front, we have Haaland and Ollie Watkins. Haaland probably with the only difficult fixture of the week against Manchester United. But if Manchester United are still in a position where they're playing Evans and Maguire in defence, I think Haaland could have an absolute field day. Elsewhere on the bench, Archer and Charlie Taylor in there. To be honest, if I didn't have 2 free transfers, I'm pretty sure that I would roll this team and I would take a transfer into next week. But because I have 2 free transfers, I feel like I'm obliged to make a transfer this week and try and find something in my team that I want to change. Now, there are a couple of things that I am looking at. The big one for me that I penciled in for this week is an Arsenal midfielder. Bukayo Saka did play for Arsenal in game week 9, so I do think that he is one of my key transfer targets. The other one is Tsimikas. Now, Tsimikas is really interesting, and actually Tsimikas makes me think that going without Trippier is more of a viable strategy now than maybe it has been over the past couple of weeks. And you think, well, they don't play for the same team. But it's just another good attacking defender from a decent defence that I think I can allow myself to go and get a lot of good options elsewhere in my team. If I was to set up, I could even find a way to do Charlie Taylor up to Tsimikas, leaving myself with a 5-man defence of Cash, Udogie, Gabriel, Burn and Tsimikas, playing 3 of them every week. I think I can get away with not owning Kieran Trippier. The other one that we talk about, of course, is Bukayo Saka in the midfield. Kieran Trippier and Tsimikas are probably the top 3, but there are a lot of teams with good fixture runs starting in game week 10. So, those top 3 transfer targets for me to start off with. First of all is Bukayo Saka. Sheffield United and Burnley at home in the next 2, with Newcastle away in between. It is a nice fixture run. From game week 12 onwards, they have a really good fixture run. It's just whether I decide to invest in game week 10 or I decide to wait and invest in game week 12. We look at the options that I could sell for them in Heung-min Son and James Maddison are probably the 2 that would go if I wanted to try and get Bukayo Saka. I'd sell one of those 2. Now, they play Crystal Palace away, Chelsea at home. Palace away, Chelsea at home versus Sheffield United at home. Newcastle away is very similar in terms of fixture difficulty. Saka does have Champions League. There is always the risk that he's still carrying a bit of a knock. Is there a potential that he doesn't play that Sheffield United at home game? Probably not, given that they've just dropped points to Chelsea, so I think they'll probably go in with a full-strength team. But I am debating whether I need to make that Saka move this week, or I could wait until game week 12 and keep Son and Maddison for the next 2. I might wait and see how Spurs look going into that fixture on Monday night. The issue with Spurs is although they don't have any midweek fixtures, they do play Monday night this week, and then they are the Friday night fixture in game week 10. So there's actually only a reasonably small break for them going into that match. So the next one is Kieran Trippier. The fixtures look good, but if you've watched his assist at the weekend, there are sometimes players that you don't own get points, and you just have to accept that you didn't get the points, but don't react too badly. He passed it to Jacob Murphy, who then tried to put in a cross, mishit it, and it ended up going over the goalkeeper into the back post. Now, great. Trippier deserved the assist. The rules, that's 100% an assist, but it's not something he's going to do every week. He did create some chances, but he has massively overperformed his numbers still so far this season. He has 6 assists to just 3 expected assists so far this season and is 7 million basically now. And the final one is Tsimikas. Robertson sounds like he's not going to play between now and the end of the year. So we've got 10 game weeks where Liverpool actually have a really, really nice run. Tsimikas has already risen in price by 0.1 million up to 4.5. Interestingly, he came off early in that game, just after the 60th minute as well, which was good because he kept a clean sheet. But if he comes off before the 60th minute, that could be a little bit of an issue. But I do really like him as an option. Saka and Tsimikas are definitely players I really like. Trippier is one I like, but I just still don't think I have room for him in my team. And the other one is Brighton. Now, Brighton are one of the teams I expect to score some of the most goals in the league, and they have some of the best fixtures now over the next 4 weeks in particular. Fulham, Everton, Sheffield United and Nottingham Forest in their next 4 games. It is trying to just pinpoint who it's going to be. In defence and in goal, I don't really want to invest. They're not keeping loads of clean sheets. And then I look in defence and none of them, apart from Estupiñán, who's currently out injured, have enough attacking threat for me to invest from a defensive point of view into them. Plus, I like the other defenders I've got in my team. Tsimikas is more of a priority than any of the Brighton defenders. Up front, Ferguson, Welbeck, João Pedro, they can play together sometimes. They probably won't. There is enough rotation in there. So I'm really looking and maybe the 3 midfield spots that they have in that team. The attacking midfielders, the left, the right winger, and the attacking midfielder. Now, it was going to be Solly March, but Solly March has picked up an injury, and we've heard that he's not going to be playing for a reasonable amount of time, which is why Adingra is in this graphic. 5 million has started, I think, 4 of the last 5 games. Playing on that right wing could be a really, really good cheap enabler. The other 2 who feel more nailed are Mitoma and Ansu Fati, both at 6.5 million apiece. Ansu Fati is sort of playing in the number 10 role. I really rate him as a player, and the Mitoma playing out on the left-hand side. I think they'll do well, and I think they'll score goals. I just need to try and work out, because they do have Europa League in between the fixtures that they've got coming up. How many of the Premier League games do I expect them to start? If I expect them to start maybe 3 of the 4, it probably is worth going and buying one of them. However, if I think there's a chance they only start 2 of the next 4, then I probably need to sort of stay away and go for a more nailed asset in the likes of Diaby, who's already in my team, the likes of Jared Bowen. I could just keep them and decide not to go with Brighton at all. So, with 2 free transfers in the bank, as I said, there's not actually, if I had 1 free transfer, I pretty much certainly roll the transfer this week and just keep Son, Maddison and Udogie and play them all, and then consider what I'm going to do with the potential transfers for Saka and Tsimikas and maybe Brighton going into game week 11. But now I have 2 free transfers, I am considering exactly what I want to do. Right now, I do think, as much as I think Maddison up to Saka is a better move and keeping Son is better than keeping Maddison, I don't think it allows the squad structure that I want and the flexibility I want going forward, because if I do Maddison up to Saka, I have to free up about 500,000 still to go and find that, and I don't really have an obvious place unless I was to sell Diaby, but Diaby has Luton at home and I don't really want to go and do that this week either. So at the moment, my current plan is to downgrade Son. It is doing Son to Saka. I do think having Saka for that Sheffield United at home game is worth it, especially because I do think he's going to start in that fixture. If we get closer and he, plays 90 minutes in the Champions League midweek, I might have to reconsider, but that is the plan. That will also free up enough money in my team to do Charlie Taylor up to Tsimikas. Now, I don't know whether I need to do that this week, because I then would probably have to bench Udogie, and I'd go from having 3 Spurs players against Crystal Palace to then only having 1. But that is the current sort of dynamic plan for my team. Son downgrade. I just think Saka and Maddison is better than trying to upgrade and squeeze the money to do Maddison up to Son. That will allow me to do Taylor up to Tsimikas and have a fantastic 5-man defence that I, fingers crossed, hope can compete with Kieran Trippier over the next few weeks. Then I'm still pretty happy with the rest of my team. I'm not getting massive green arrows, not getting abundance of points after my wildcard, but still pretty happy with the team that I've built. Still pretty happy that I've kept Erling Haaland. Still think against Manchester United and Bournemouth in the next 2, he can do well. That is the hope. It's just Alvarez continues to match him is a little bit of a concern. But he's not going anywhere at the moment. Son and Taylor out to Tsimikas and Bukayo Saka is my planned transfers, but I will be waiting until at least after the Champions League. Then, of course, I want to see if Tsimikas starts in Europe as well on Thursday evening for Liverpool. So no rush to make transfers. I've missed the price rise on Tsimikas as well, so I will be waiting until later on in the week. So let me know what you think. Would you try and squeeze Bukayo Saka in for Maddison? Is it Son down to Bukayo Saka? Would you actually just wait on Saka 2 weeks and not have him in that Newcastle fixture next week? Let me know what you think. Any questions about your team as well, drop it all in the comment section down below. There'll be plenty of videos as well this week. We're going to have a wildcard video, a 5 players to buy video, and finally a team selection video before the deadline stream on Friday. Thank you all so much for watching. Like and subscribe before you go, and I'll be back again very soon.